So Sea of Thieves has been out for a bit more than a month now, and a large amount of people have reacted very negatively towards it for very good reasons. The game is bare bones as fuck in terms of content, and they're charging the same amount of money as for a AAA title for the game, making many people consider Sea of Thieves a complete disgrace to the video gaming industry. The game has a great foundation and great core gameplay, and I'm sure it could eventually be good in 2, 3, 30 years or so when the game actually has enough content, and by the time it's finished, I'm sure my grandkids will love it. But it sure as hell isn't anywhere near finished right now. So why is this game so boring? Let me explain briefly. In this game, you play a pirate, you get a ship, and can take one of 3 different quests. One where you dig up a chest somewhere and bring it back to sell it. One where you go out, kill a skeleton, get its skull, and then bring it back to sell it. And a third one where you need to go to an island, catch a chicken, or find some supplies, and then bring them back and sell them. Sometimes there are forts where you can fight skeletons and get some mixed treasure. Sometimes there are shipwrecks you can search underwater. Sometimes you get attacked by tentacles and you can meet other players and take their shit too. That is it. I just explained everything that is in this game. You spent the vast majority of your time in Sea of Thieves completing quests from one of these 3 different types that I just explained over and over again with very little variety, just so you can earn gold to spend on way too expensive cosmetics that you can't even see on your character unless you dance, because the game is first person only. Also, I didn't mention how much downtime there is in this game. Whenever you want to go on a mission, you have to speak to a quest giver to get a quest, then sail all the way to an island, which is pretty straightforward once you have the ship going the right direction. Then when you get the loot, you have to transport it back to the ship, sail all the way back, and carry it over to the quest giver. This takes way longer than you would think. Islands are very far apart, your ship isn't that fast even if you set your sails perfectly, and you can't run when you're carrying something. I would say that there is much more waiting in this game than actual gameplay. The parts of the game where you're in a fight or searching for a chest aren't too bad, but when I'm on my ship waiting for it to sail towards my next destination, I find myself so often just running around mindlessly, bored out of my mind. That's the point where many players would say, oh, that is why you should play the game with friends. That's the way the game was meant to be played. I did play with some friends, and I do think if there's one thing that can keep this game alive and interesting for people, it's playing with your friends.
Baby! Spread that shit hard!
The best moment I had in the game was while playing with friends. But even if you've got all your best friends playing with you, there's only so much you can do, talk, and joke about in a small boat out in the middle of the sea. You're probably eventually just gonna end up talking about something outside of the game, and then realize that the game is just something you do in the background of conversations, and then you move on to a game that is actually fun and interesting. What this game does right is that it doesn't make you follow that many rules. It gives you all the resources you need and says, go out there, experience the world, and make your own story. You have to make your own adventure and fun, and that is perfectly fine as long as the game provides the tools that make it interesting enough for us to do so. This game does not offer nearly enough of these tools. Seriously, there's only so much fun to be had in a game where you either dig up some chest, kill some dude, or catch some chicken. After having played the game for 2 hours, you've pretty much experienced everything the game has to offer. Doesn't matter how many friends you played with. The game was first revealed on E3 2015, and it had probably been in development a bit before that. So what the game has to offer now probably took the developers at least 4 years to make. A few weeks ago, the developers of the game released a video discussing their plans for what they're going to be adding to the game within the next 6 to 8 months. This video is really important since it talks about what content is going to be added. It gives us an idea of how the game will look in the future and whether or not it might be worth coming back to at some point. The video is 14 minutes long, so we're just gonna look at the important parts, which is the features that they're going to be adding to the game.
I think for the studio?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's...
And what we want to talk about today is our plans moving forward. And so the first of those in our plan is the Hungering Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we're bringing in May to players. The Hungering Deep introduces a new AI threat to Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And then we transition to our weekly events strategy. There's many different ways we want to kind of do events, right? Some is introducing new mechanics to the world. Some is like perhaps introducing a new way to play, right? So like within an existing trading company, you could be adding a completely new way to play for players. And some is just reusing cool things in the world, or the world we've already got, or some of the mechanics we've already got, right? That we're looking at right at the moment and we're working on is cursed cannonballs, right? Skeleton thrones is another thing that we're looking at internally, which is adding a bunch of thrones around the world, right? Like in really hard to reach places. Find these things in the world and then figure out how you're going to get up there, right? And go and sit in their thrones, take a selfie. Like. So we've talked about the hungering deep in as much detail as we can. And then the next one that we're heading towards is cursed sails, right? Alluding a little bit to what's in there.
Yeah, and this is another new AI threat that we're adding, right? This is a new thing that can engage you and your crew while you're out there having these adventures.
Yeah. And there's also a new way to play for players, introducing a new ship type for players to play on.
That's right, yeah.
And then as we head towards the third one, which is Forsaken Shores, again, alluding to what might be coming in that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about enriching the world, but I think this is a new area to explore.
We're also planning on introducing a new AI threat alongside that, that's very much themed to that part of the world, right? Cool. Yeah, so I think that's it.
So, the big things that they're going to be adding are 3 different types of AI. From the names, it sounds like they're adding a type of underwater creature, a skeleton ship, and some other type of skeleton alongside a new island or area, and weekly events. Then the smaller things they're adding are cursed cannonballs, skeleton thrones, and a new ship type. From doing a bit of research, there's no actual information about what cursed cannonballs are going to be, just ideas from players. And skeleton thrones are just small places where you can defeat some skeletons and sit in the throne to get a reward, or at least that's what I got from the video. Those are all the things they're going to be adding in the next 5 months. These don't sound like major updates. These sound like small content packs that add a little more variety. That's it. They may add an hour and a half in total, but I certainly don't think that it's worth giving the game a try again for if you didn't like the game in the first place. It's just not enough. The video is also very vague at a lot of points. They talk about how they want to add new mechanics, rewards, cosmetics, and reuse existing game mechanics in new ways.
And obviously alongside that, it will bring kind of new mechanics, new features, just alongside that wrap it, and new rewards, new cosmetics, etc. for players.
But they don't actually say how they want to do that in most of the video. The video has a large amount of this vague talk about how they want to improve the game without talking about the specific things that they want to add to actually improve it. On the forums, you see nothing but players with tons of ideas that like the game but really crave something more to do. And I'm sure the game could be great if they started to produce a large amount of content, but it doesn't look like it'll be worth playing for quite some time. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.